right, a very good evening and a warm welcome to the Press Box. We're live from the Kampala Serena Hotel. It's now been 9 matches for the Uganda Cranes without a win. After today's 0-0 draw in the St. Mary's Stadium down in Chitende, it means now it is a higher mountain to climb for the boys and Micho Sredojevic. The good news is that the Uganda Cranes head coach, the Serbian Wolf, Mr. Serunjoji, Micho Sredojevic, is live on the Press Box tonight. He's already arrived at our offices and he will be speaking to us very shortly, not just about that game, but also the future of Ugandan football. We cross on to Kigali, whereas Mark Sally is in transit as I speak. We spoke to him a bit earlier, pretty much about Uganda's campaign at the AfroBasket, plus one of the biggest topics on social media. We discussed it on the show last week. Who actually paid the bill for the Silverbacks? The FUBA president, Nasser Serunjoji, spoke to us earlier on as well, and we shall be getting you all those details, plus what this means for Ugandan basketball moving forward. The Premier League does return this very week, so big headlines are definitely coming your way. My name is Andrew Kabura. We are proudly powered by DSTV and Guinness, trying to make sure we have the biggest panel in town so we can discuss the biggest issues. Let me quickly introduce the panel for you that is joining us on the show tonight. The man right next to me making a huge return, I should say, huge return to the Press Box, Mr. Alan Darren Chaine, who is, of course, a columnist with the Daily Monitor and also a contributor, I should add, to many international websites. Darren, as always, a pleasure. Good evening.
Good evening.
Right next to him is Andrew Mwangusha, another contributor and columnist, of course, with the Daily Monitor, a man who knows a thing or two about football, reporting, I mean. And he's on the show tonight as well to discuss some of the biggest topics in world football and also the Uganda Cranes. Good evening, as always, my brother, and welcome to the show.
Good evening, Andrew. Glad to be here.
But we start off tonight's show then in Tokyo. Ismail Dakawa Chigongo is in transit as well, returning to the country, but he's been giving us all the updates and keeping a very close eye on Uganda's performance at the Paralympics. We have one medal, but what exactly has he made of our performance and the games themselves? Here he is.
Andrew and the entire team, this is Ismail speaking to you from Tokyo, where I have been for the past 3 weeks covering the Tokyo 2020 Paralympics. I'm happy to report that never in my life have I been part of an event as compelling as the Paralympics. This is the moment when you get to realize how much of a gift you may have for all the things that we may take for granted, to have the arms, to have the legs, to have everything, and to be able to see as well as you and I do. But I've also learned a lot about resilience. Some of these athletes, for every hit him with a spike on the knee, and that lessened how much he could go for it, and eventually wound up with a bronze. The other 3 athletes, none of them has brought a medal home, but they all have quite interesting stories. One has got to be Husna Kukundakwe. She's only 14, and this para swimmer has probably been the biggest attraction of the media here in Tokyo. She's given more interviews than you may give in your lifetime, and she's only 14. I've always thought about her and said to myself, what was I doing at the age of 14? I was somewhere around the Chibuli main hall trying to play cricket using jerry cans and some old bats and everything. But now you can imagine at 14, Kukundakwe is a Paralympian. She was able to swim in the 100-meter breaststroke. She did not go through her heat, but she got a lot of attention. Most of it was geared towards what Uganda could benefit from her appearance at the Games. Thereafter, the other 2 competitors, Piso Roma, the sprinter, has been able to compete in the 100 meters T13 category. That is for the visually impaired, and in the 400 meters T13 category. In both races, Roma was able to lower her personal best, but none of those times were enough to get her through the heat into the next stage. So for her, it's been a bit of a learning curve. She's told me several times that she wants to be back at these games in 2024 in Paris. That is one target. 2, she wants to be able to qualify for the Commonwealth Games that come up next year in Birmingham, and also the World Para Athletics Championships that will happen here in Japan, in the city of Kobe, which is quite a distance from Holland, another from Portugal, the Portuguese girl called Beatriz Monteiro. Eventually, she was not even able to last an hour on court over 3 games and lost all those 3 games with a margin of 2-0, 2-0, 2-0, and that's a kind of a lesson that she's taken out of here. If you've been able to read today's Daily Monitor, you will have seen some of the comments coming out of Rita Simwe, and she was very interesting in saying that She thinks she should eat less of chapati, and that should help her lose a bit of weight. And also she thinks she needs to start going to the gym in order to compete at this level. But Andrew, for me, the biggest lesson stories that I've found with these games, for the Ugandan context, I was speaking to the president of the Uganda Paralympic Committee, Hajjomali Mpindi, who is also a member of parliament for people with disability, and was telling me for him what he thinks should be done going forward is an increase in the numbers. There's so much sport is seen here that he thinks Ugandans should be able to do, especially if you start with those who are in the Mubende Rehabilitation Center. This is a center for soldiers injured during war, and he thinks he should get some of those to compete in sport. And for me to get the numbers here would be, for me, a big plus. To come from 130 in 2016 to 4 this time is a big bonus, but we need to go much higher. If you look at the countries that box next Monday, Andrew, enjoy it and remind them that we are live from the
I'm telling you, we're live right from the Kampala Serena Hotel. And as always, you're watching the press box. That is Ismail Dakawachigongo, the head of Sport NMG, reporting for us from Tokyo, where, of course, the Paralympics have been going on. Uganda has one medal in there. Darren is the man who closely was following the Olympics from the first ones. Uganda was doing well. Ugandans were very happy with the medals we got from Tokyo. But now for the Paralympics team, what do you make of our performance? And maybe not just the medals. How crucial is this for the less abled as well moving forward for the country?
If I recall, we took 25 athletes to the Olympic Games in Tokyo. We got 4 medals from 25 athletes. If you try and compare that, 16% scored by the team. If you took 4 athletes and you get 1 medal, you've scored 25%. Meaning the Paralympic team has done better than those who went for the Olympic Games in terms of statistics or numbers. But for the numerical side, obviously the medals are more. Joshua Cheptegei will appeal more to an ordinary Ugandan, but those that are not ably-bodied like you and me, the ones in Tokyo for the Paralympics, may not get the same light as those that we've discussed perhaps in the recent times I've been here. And when Ismail talks about increasing the numbers, it actually reminds me when he talked about the rehabilitation center in Mubende, where there are those who've lost limbs, either the leg or the arm, depending on the circumstances when they've gone on the front line for the country. A one Sam Mubaje should have won a gold medal in the T3 100-meter category at the World Paramilitary Games. Should have been in China 2 years ago. And we have a colleague of ours who is really interested in parasport, Abdul Nasser Semugabi, who's actually gone and done a whole feature about how he lost one of his limbs. And I'll tell you, if you're already, in a country like Uganda, it's not difficult to start in any particular discipline. The bigger challenges come when you're already embedded in. Starting is not hard. The challenges are with the structures that are in place. That can they support? Do you wake up one day and there's amputee football, which Imam Bumbuli, that you and I and Andrew here know very well, woke up and one day said, maybe he dreams to have a tournament because he's seen a tournament in Asia or Europe of athletes that are competing in a football match, and the other leg is actually a clutch, and not having 2 legs, or actually having 2 clutches and you're trying to play football. Imam Bumbuli lost the leg, a former player with Proline, and certainly that hasn't come through. But his will to go there, perhaps, is just a mirror of what Ismail has witnessed in Tokyo.
This week had a very big opportunity, Andrew Mwangusha, of being invited by the French embassy. There was the Uganda-France remix ahead of the Africa-France summit that, of course, will be in Montpellier. And part of the discussions we were having at Alliance Francaise was inclusion. I still get disappointed as a Ugandan that we still talk about women when we talk about inclusion. I think women should automatically be included. The fact that they do pretty much what we do as men, that discussion for me seems a bit stale. But for the less abled, the discussion needs to be given more light. We have parents in this country that are not comfortable, that are embarrassed sending their children out to go and play sport. When you look at Dakawa's report from Tokyo, there are so many less abled human beings out there who actually are doing way more with their life move and they're more talented. We need to shine more light on the less abled in this country because it helps so many folks psychologically as well.
And that's what they mean when they say you need to talk about a problem.
Yeah.
A challenge. If there's a challenge, keeping quiet about it actually is a disadvantage to humanity. So when you talk about it and create awareness and people know that, wait a minute, this actually is happening, it's with us, but how do we make the most of it? Now, if for example, a parent is worried about their kid, they might go and even injure themselves the more.
Yeah.
But now there's a way. You see, there's a clear way. Now the question has to come down to the policymakers. Can we create and strengthen these structures, like Darren is saying, so that actually the less, the less able-bodied can come through just and live normally and compete actually for things, which also brings me to the issue sometime back at the start of the Olympics, the Paralympics. Ismail wrote a story. I think he did an interview with a state sports minister, Hamson Obua, about the pay structure of the Paralympians. If one gets gold, how much do they pay? Do you compare with the Cheptegei and all? And in my case, I'm like, there shouldn't even be debate.
There shouldn't be a debate on that. Yeah.
It's a Paralympic medal. It's an Olympic medal. So if you are to give them, we say it's a gold medal, gets this monthly, or NCS is paying this, it should be uniform because it's a gold medal. And it's an international event, and President Museveni did make it clear. It's got to be an international event, not the Diamond League. Don't confuse him with that.
Well, there's a Diamond League final this week.
Yes, so I think it's a lesson for every one of us. Actually, it's a lesson mostly to us.
Yeah. The journalists as well.
The able-bodied people.
Okay.
Because we complain a lot, yet we have everything.
Yeah, absolutely. You wanted to add something before I cross over to Kigali?
It just reminded me that 5 years ago when David Among won the Olympic silver, the Paralympic silver, in the same category, 1,500 meters, I think behind an Algerian in the T46 category. I think he was a contender for the WUSPA award with Dennis Onyango. If I remember in 2016, I think Onyango eventually beat him to the award. When Among had taken silver, it reminded me that years before he won that silver medal, Among would struggle for competitions in Nambole. So he would turn up to compete against able-bodied athletes. And it would be actually difficult for someone to notice or realize that there's a para-athlete actually trying to compete. And he's got an infirmity on the left arm. So when he stands or perhaps when he's running, for instance, 1,500 meters where there's a lot of bumping with each other, and you find Among is in that field, it will be difficult for you to recognize that actually Among, who is a para-athlete, is competing with able-bodied athletes because he doesn't have competitors.
Fantastic.
And it's just a reminder that we've got to have that bit of inclusion, a little bit more.
There you go. A quick report then from Ismail Dakawa Chigongo in Tokyo. And we honestly congratulate our team, and we do hope more less able Ugandans take this sport serious. And if you're a parent to someone who is less able, feel free, introduce them to a sport. We could be having a medal right there. All right, let's quickly cross over to a country where we did not pick a medal, but Uganda's basketball fraternity is quite happy with the show that we had at the AfroBasket in Kigali. We beat Nigeria, lost out to Cape Verde, and Max Ali has been in there. He's on transit right now on his way back to Kampala. But we spoke to him a bit earlier. Here is Max Ali telling us a thing or two about the final ceremony. He did record this one as the medals were actually being given out.
Good evening, Andrew and Andrew in the studio. This is Max Ali for Pressbox down in Kigali at the arena. The final has just ended, and Tunisia have won a very, very exciting ball game on the final play by just the 3 points, and it came down to the very last play with 10 seconds to go. Ivory Coast looked like they'd been beaten. They were out of it at halftime, out of it in the third quarter, and by the final minute, after some miraculous shooting from Diamante, first East African nation to get into the quarterfinals, and they were joined there by South Sudan, and they've done very, very well. Uganda, of course, one of the things we've done here to do a great, great job. So the Silverbacks have been hailed for an amazing, amazing tournament here at the AfroBasket. At the third time of asking, getting out of the group stages, winning a great quarterfinal playoff match against Nigeria, and then finishing in the quarterfinals. There are no classification matches, but it's been a great, great tournament hosted in Kigali here. The guys have done a great job at FAO, and we've enjoyed ourselves quite immensely. Despite and back in Uganda, I'm sure you guys are going to be very happy about this. Now, I'll say that as we wait for the award-giving ceremony, I'll sign up for now and get back to you later. So there you are, Andrew.
Oh, there you go, Tunisia once again lifting the AfroBasket championship in Kigali. Just before I let Maxali go, though, he also gave us a quick analysis of what he made of the tournament, a little short clip. Obviously, you're not hearing him so well because of the crowd that was inside the Kigali arena. But here is Maxali one more time telling us what he really made of the tournament as he planned to head back to Kampala.
Andrew, there you have it for my final take on the tournament. Tunisia have been crowned, and we have got winners of the individual categories as well. The top scorer, Guigui Deyang from Senegal, 120 points in the tournament. And then you had the MVP, Ben Ramadan from Tunisia, who played so well in this tournament. You had the best rebounder, Walter Tavares, the 7'3" center from Cape Verde. And then you also had the best three-point shooter as Carlos Moraes of Angola. Like we said, Rwanda, the hosts, also won the Fair Play Award. It's been an amazing tournament, and everybody has walked away quite happy. And well, here AfroBasket 21, we sign out. See you again in 2025. I'm out.
Definitely out, Maxali, and he should be with us on the next episode of the Press Box. Guys,
I think Maxali was the most excited Ugandan, both here and in Kigali. Actually, I'm more excited than the players.
Yeah, but I mean, you can understand, and I'll start off with you. For Uganda to go and make it to the quarterfinals of an African championship where big hitters are, for us to beat teams like Nigeria, let's first forget the problems the teams seem to have. This will be a huge plus for Uganda's basketball moving forward.
First, you've got to give it up to the people, the boys who are playing, and the girls who are playing basketball in the local league. Now they actually have a clear direction, a map, you know, somewhere you're headed. Previously, before we qualified for the AfroBasket, you wondered, okay, you win, you know, you play, go the play. Something you will not question is the commitment of the players and the coaches and the whole management. The efforts, and this is the difference between Silverbacks and the Uganda Cranes, for example. With the Uganda Cranes, you would struggle to see the good in the display as of now, at least the first two games. But when did you last see the country celebrating a team that has lost? At least not made it to the final. So you have a team that, of course, made the first by going to the quarterfinals, but it's the commitment, it's the display, it's the, you know, that determination of going all the way. They left everything there. You cannot question their professionalism, their commitment, and the way they actually put aside the issues to go and play. So for me, that and the coach, George, I'm his biggest fan when it comes to those talks in between the quarters. I really applaud them, and I think they're quite an inspiration and a story for everyone to borrow from.
Darren, this is growth. This is a step taken. The last time you were on the show, you talked about the Chemtais and the Nanyondos, how a couple of times ago they didn't make the final. They made the semi-finals. They made it out of the heats. And then as time went, they actually went on and won the medals. Now, for Team Uganda to have performed this well, the basketball fans will be happy because who knows what the next championship now means. They are confident ahead of it.
Maybe this is the best time to say that perhaps the other side of life has showed us that you can take shortcuts. For sport, it's very difficult. Even at club level in sport, some teams may get shortcuts. You may do a couple of transfers here and there and you do a fix. But when it gets to national team sport, I'll say the same thing about the Uganda Cranes. There are no shortcuts. The same thing for the Silverbacks. They've had some work to do to get where they are. The journey started slowly. If you remember, I think aided by King Saha's Mulirwana in Lugogo. Then I remember Ismail writing a big headline that AfroBasket, here we come. That was a debut. I think Uganda only won a classification game against Zimbabwe. Then 2 years later, Uganda, I think, finished 13th. And now, a quarter-final that involved actually beating Nigeria. A first victory against Cameroon at the AfroBasket. And if it hadn't been Tavares, or if Tavares was either Andrew or your size, then the result would have been different, because I can count as many blocks he had. They surpassed the margin that Cape Verde won with in the quarterfinal. 79.
I just feel he hit
I was actually angry with him. Like, we had no Okay, Okello tried, but
I think
he's the one who beat us.
He actually gave his best because he had double the minutes he had actually in the entire tournament, just because of the size against Tavares. And I think going forward with the quarterfinal, there's something now to look forward to. Andrew talks about the league. When NASA gets back here, besides answering tweets, maybe it's now time to again think about the league in particular. Perhaps have something that can end the year to keep the mojo. Because the bigger batch of the players on the AfroBasket do not play basketball here. You find Ishmael Wainwright would have thought of a summer camp with the Toronto Raptors. Kaluma must have had some time with his franchise. And then you find the players from the league here. One would just wonder, and I asked the same question actually on radio at the weekend, that what if the league was going on? Would there have been a chance perhaps for a standout player to have a place on the team? You know, because we had only Okello, Jimmy Enabu, and Ben Komakech, as well as Tony Drilleva, if I recall very well. Largely because of the experience of the two, that is Koma and Enabu. But you'd think that we can get a better picture of the Silverbacks with more players from the league. Many will say they're not good enough for that stage, but we can build.
There you go. First of all, just remind you, the head coach of the Uganda Cranes, Milton Micho Sredojevic, is with us tonight. He will be joining us on set very shortly to discuss the 0-0 draw today against Mali and the future of Ugandan football. But let me quickly first cross back to Kigali and catch up with the FUBA president, Mr. Nasser Serunjoji. I asked him 3 different questions. One of those is who actually paid the bill of the Silverbacks at their hotel. But before we get there, I first asked him just his conclusion from the tournament. Here he is.
As you all know, this is our third, AfroBasket that we've participated in. We started in 2015. That was our first AfroBasket. Then we came in. The issue of, where I see Uganda's basketball in the future, I think we are on the roll at the moment, and we are ticking the right boxes. We are doing the right things, and I believe that the future is bright for Uganda's basketball.
All right, there you go. The future is bright for Uganda's basketball is what the FUBA president, Nasser Serunjoji, is telling us. But just before we let him go, let's talk about the biggest issue on Uganda's social media this week. Just the other day, we hosted him and we were talking about how Uganda's national basketball side, the Silverbacks, did not have money to pay for their hotel bills in Kigali. And that has caused everyone to jump into the topic on Twitter, on Facebook, and I should say Instagram as well. So what we did after confirming that the team was actually traveling, we caught up with the president himself and asked him, first of all, have the bills been paid? Secondly, who paid the bills? Who paid the bills? Because some people were saying the Rwandese government has paid the bills, the federation in Rwanda has paid the bills. Who paid the bills? Here he is.
Of course, about the issues of the hotel bills and all that, I don't know where that other information is coming from, and I don't know where the confusion is coming from, but from an official point of view from the Federation, our hotel bill was cleared by General Muhoozi Kainerugaba, as you saw, from my tweet and the statement that I made as the president of the Federation. So that's the official position. He sent us money, and we were able to clear the hotel bills. So whatever information you have from other sources, I do not know the source of that information and its basis of foundation. So what I know is that General Muhoozi Kainerugaba cleared our bill 100%.
There you go. That has been cleared. Darren, you don't have to laugh. You were shaking your head. What's the problem?
He was asking where the other information came from. I think Radisson Hotels of Rwanda has a verified Twitter account.
Yes.
Yeah. So.
And they sent out a tweet.
And they put out a tweet actually about that same issue.
Yeah.
But it's unfortunate that the lack of systems has driven the entire conversation to this. In times where we perhaps should be discussing what next after Cape Verde, we still have, of course, a stone in our shoe that is to do with the bills. Yeah. And this is where I've got to give credit to the players for their professionalism, that they were able to turn out every day. As the information that kept creeping out of Kigali was there were struggles with hotel bills. Right or wrong, the players on court kept giving their best. because just imagine, when I was here, Mark actually put on that jersey for Wainwright.
Yeah.
And he actually stood, he actually turned, because Wainwright had crossed to the NBA to play for the Toronto Raptors. The very first time a Ugandan, whether naturalized but Ugandan player, was going to play in the NBA. Just a few days or few weeks later, the same team he plays for is struggling for hotel bills.
Yeah.
Pretty shameful.
It's amazing. Mwangusha, I don't know what you make of this, but shouldn't Ugandans be happy that the bills were finally paid and the team is en route?
NASA talks about the official position.
Yeah.
He hasn't told us about the unofficial position.
Why should he talk about unofficial positions?
I'm submitting.
Okay.
Radisson Blue also has an official position.
Yeah.
And that is FUBA paid, rather the FERABA, the Federation of Rwanda. I think FUBA, NASA and FUBA are in a tight corner. Before Muhoozi allegedly paid,
Officially paid.
we were told they needed 360 million plus. So if you take off the 188 million, you have a balance of about 170 something million. So is that bill, is that debt still hanging over their heads? Where is that? Could that be the bill that perhaps was paid in Rwanda? Now, of course, FUBA, if it happened, they will not tell you. You all know the political tensions between Uganda and Rwanda. Yeah. If FUBA came clear that actually that payment happened, my friend, they could be welcomed like Sechitoleko. So that question, I know they know, but they cannot come out clear to tell us. And I appreciate the difficult situation they're in. Yeah. However, we shall all, was the 170 million pardoned? Or I need to have
we need more clarity.
I need coffee with Grace and the team. Yeah. We see
for the unofficial position.
But like Darren says, as a country, we need to get off this nonsense of individuals paying, allegedly paying. We know that this money, yes, someone said they paid, but this money should be money from the taxpayers. Okay. And that was, there were calls that happened late, as the team was trying to get out of the hotel here and there. And those calls, of course, people moved. Okay, you have to appreciate the Jerome Muhoozi did, received calls and, made things happen. Yeah. But I'm not one of those who will say he personally paid for the team. Yeah. But whatever he did, at least the team left, and we'll leave it at that. Okay, we'll leave it at that then. The team is en route, that we can confirm, and we shall be probably hosting NASA in the future to have more clarification and more planning for Uganda's national basketball side. We are proudly powered by DSTV. It is the summer of sport. You can watch so much action on DSTV just by getting yourself a package in your house. And like I said, it's not just for you. Your wife, your girlfriend, your sister, your mother, your cousin, your child have options on DSTV because there's news, there's entertainment, there's cartoons, and of course, just like my own household, so many cooking shows in there. Plus, on the other side, we are proudly powered by Guinness. And as we welcome you to the table of men, we are saying, please make sure you're above 18 years of age and do drink responsibly. We're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, the Serbian Wolf, Milton Micho Sredojevic. He was in the dugout today as the Uganda Cranes drew 0-0 with Mali. Just how crucial will that point be? But also, we have so much to discuss with Micho. Welcome back. You're watching the Press Box. Thank you very much for joining us. Every Monday at 10 p.m. we have the biggest panel of journalists that come through to discuss the biggest issues as well. My name is Andrew Kabura. Once again, welcoming you to the Kampala Serena Hotel. We are proudly powered by DSTV and Guinness. Now, we have the main man in studio, Milton Micho Sredojevic, head coach of the Uganda Cranes. But just before we talk about the Uganda Cranes, just allow me to cross to Andrew Mwangusha to give us some of the reaction that is currently coming in online about the Silverbacks. Oh yes, we have Roman Derrick who says one word, legendary. We are now in the books of AfroBasket because the lads put on the greatest performances in the worst times, but they still managed to amaze us. Silverbacks are legends. Andrew Kabura, #1 fan because we are live at Kampala. And then we have Joseph Akol who says the economic colonization of Uganda by Rwanda was completed in this tournament. Whatever NASA says, no smoke without fire. Then we have Inspector Derek who says, from Arinda Ambrose says, I watched these guys play from the first game and made me love basketball. I regretted my time I spent on football other than basketball. They did great and wrote history of the country, loved the power and enthusiasm they bore. Silverbacks.
There you go. Fantastic. Good stuff from the Silverbacks as well. Just like I said, the main guest, Milton Micho Sredojevic, is here. First things first, Coach, good evening and welcome back to the press box.
Thank you very much. It's an honor, pleasure and privilege to come here to see you once more amongst you here. I see that you have lifted the work you are doing and in presenting the sport in the best possible way on the highest possible level. I don't see the difference between your presentation and presentation I had in South Africa or in Egypt. Well done.
Thank you very much, Coach. I really, really appreciate that. And we have a big panel behind there that is making sure that is successful. Let me start here. We have the football, but let's start with the basketball. You're from Serbia, who of course are big hitters when it comes down to basketball. So when you come back home and hear that we are going AfroBasket and making the quarterfinals, that is huge.
I really need to recognize great work of people working in basketball, to the team, to the coach, to everyone. You know, in my country we call basketball queen of games. While football is king of games.
Yeah.
So looking at that, we just had an unbelievable year behind us. MVP of NBA is Serbian, MVP of EuroLeague is Serbian, and for me, I'm very much connected to that. I salute. It has been honor, pleasure, and privilege seeing them performing very well and promoting the game in the best possible way, despite hardships. However, I personally believe that not only good performance, but also and lesson learned that they need next time possibly to provide that players are in full competitive aspect before going to such a competition, not to be in recess. It is similar with us. We have entered in these World Cup qualifiers in an aspect from the lockdown, in off-season, pre-season. Only Express was a bit in action and under 23 before that. Many players off competitive radar, and we really entered in same like car with punctured tire. Yeah. So we really stretch overall human sport limits. I believe at present it was, I want to say, our maximum. I just regret that red card today, because until then we have really, everything has gone as per plan. And if I'm telling you that with 3 players of Mali that are playing in UEFA Champions League, all 3 of them, Haidara, Samaseku and Kamara, they were telling me after the match from 70th minute we didn't feel our legs. So, but they had the advantage of player extra, and this is what gave them an edge. But on the other side, we were planning to go exactly to that time so that we catch them in an aspect of last minute and impact of fresh legs, the way Alex Ferguson is telling, to open the sink, to put all the attacking options up front and to go all out in attack. Like this, we needed a forceful change where Guma came in central defense, Wafula on the right full back as a makeshift aspect, and that denied us one extra attacking option up front in Yunus Sentamu that I believe could be the person that could make a difference. Unfortunately, it was not meant to be. Yeah,
let's start here. You've taken me deep into the game, but let's start right at the very top, Micho. And later on, we shall talk about the quality of the players we have now compared to the quality of the players you left behind. But let's start here. 0-0 against Mali in Uganda after another draw against Kenya. It means 2 points from a possible 6. First of all, what do you make of our start? And how high a mountain is it for Uganda now to make it to the World Cup?
First of all, I need to tell you, there are certain criteria when teams are going to the World Cup. It has only happened once that they had top-class player Adebayor and other players were just as a supportive workers in the team. They went to World Cup Togo. Otherwise, criteria and standards to go to the World Cup are that you need to have players in top 5 leagues in Europe. Otherwise, you can only dream about. Once Syria, that had war in their country, were very close to go. last qualifying match against Australia and fail. For us, yes, we shall, in respect to millions of our supporters, stretch over all possible limits. However, I would like to urge the people to understand that we are in team in transition. Team in transition from what point? There is post-Messi Barcelona and post-Onyango Uganda Cranes. And when we talk about that, there is no, you have a phone, you press the button and things are working. We are dealing with human beings with feelings, senses and emotions, and when you have that in mind, we are having a balance between 4 or 5 players that are mature and senior players, and we have young blood and juniority of players coming that we need to put in a process of putting them in exactly all the pressure we take from them, but we give them responsibility, and at present this is what we could produce. It does not mean where we are that is a final destination. A final destination is that the next 2 matches that are in October.
Game. I'm saying show you the starting 11 like you didn't know the starting 11. Yes. But I want us to have the starting 11 on the screen, and let's look at those players, because you talk about a transition. Yes. There's no Onyango in this team clearly. The likes of Massa have long left this team. But I don't see the likes of Maweje in this team starting or giving us that backbone in the midfield. Ismail, when you look at that team, coach, were you forced into some of those decisions, or these were your best players available today? And how happy are you? This is your starting 11.
How do you mean forced in decisions?
Yeah. Some players didn't come.
Look, from that point, yes, 4 players, 2 players from Israel, 1 from Portugal, Lubega, and 1 from Scotland were not coming. Mia is sorting his issue that he has. We are having Tadeo Luanga is injured with a knee injury. Is meaning this is immediately a totally different ball game in so many aspects. However, with available situation that we are having, this was at present best of the best we are having at present. But I personally believe that matches against Rwanda are not on 6th Wednesday and 10th Sunday, 6th in Kigali and 10th here in Kampala. Matches are starting now, and we are looking that all the players will be much more in match fitness, much more in better competitive form. And I personally expect that all of us, because before being coach, I'm supporter deep inside myself. And I feel the let me say so, frustrations and disappointment of the supporters, but let us be realistic and look the truth into the eyes. We have really stretched overall human and sport limits at present where we are, and we are expecting that this team will improve so much in coming matches against Rwanda.
Do you want to go first, Mangusha?
Yeah, coach, what do you tell a Cranes fan who has watched these 2 games and they see no direction of which the team is taking, and they see, you're picking a point but not scoring a goal, and there's no pattern in terms of what kind of game are you playing? So you as Coach Micho, who has been here on your back, what can you tell to a fan, Cranes fan, that this is what we are playing and this is what we should be playing?
I have just now told all what is connected with what you have presented at present. And that is exactly. Under circumstances, players are not the telephone, you press the button and it's working. You need to know that the country has been in lockdown, we have been in off-season, pre-season, and we are having several players that have not come and several players that have not, have not been in competitive aspect. So when we are talking about that, we have really looked at the situation to go first for the results, because you cannot go for the style in time where you are not in level of fitness levels, match fitness levels, technical effectiveness and tactical competitiveness. That is coming as a part of process, and I personally expect so much improvement in front of us. This is what I have to say in this. This is a present reality. I'm really concerned as a person, as a supporter, as a coach, and it is my job with sleepless nights and hard-working days ahead of us to improve the situation drastically in our favor, so that we are fully in contention until the last match for the to go to the World Cup. if that we succeed in that mission, it is something that will be an biblical proportion miracle.
Before Darren comes in, Coach, in the last 10 minutes or so, you did take off, Bobosbi Arhang came off, and Milton Carissa.
Yes.
But as they were trudging off the field, they literally, there was no urgency.
Even with the 10 players, we would play with 3 players behind, pull one central defender out, and we had a plan of playing with 3 to put 4 in the middle and 2 up front, or going for 2 number 10s, 7, 11, and 2 number 9s in situation when we are close to the end of the game.
Yeah.
But that did not happen because of red card.
Yeah.
So you
Tactics
cannot
had to change.
Yes.
Darren. Go on.
Actually, don't need to ask Micho any question, because I think as a country, the stage where we've gotten following the qualification to the 2017 and 2019 Nations Cup, we've reached that state where we are in athletics, if I'm to borrow, that we are so confident that if Mali comes here, it's going to be beaten.
Yeah.
And that rides on the recent history that all teams that have come here have been beaten. That if we go to Kenya, we should go, yes, fight for a point, but also play football. And Micho's first successor, the Sabre Sebastian, built a kind of play that appealed to many Ugandans, where the Cranes try to go all out to try and play ball and win games. But at the time he did that, I would also love to say that he had built a rather firm Micho had built a rather firm foundation, and the Sabre came and just added on to it to spice up the beat. The games that were played last week on Thursday in Nyayo and today, I think have actually been Crane's most difficult games, perhaps in the last 15 years or so. Why? The team is undergoing transition, but more importantly, within a pandemic.
Yeah. And with unfit players.
With unfit players. I think many will agree that, I think from the times of the Ibrahim Sekajas, the Sulaiman Tenywas, the Timothy Batabaere, and Postnatal Moñ era, this is the very first Crane squad to have under 7 players starting that play ball out of Uganda.
Yeah. We had way more professionals in the...
For all the results that we've been picking, whether it's Johnny McKinstry, whether it's the Sabre, whether it's Micho, whether it's Bobby Williamson, whether it's Lats, okay, I wouldn't put Lats or Zaba, all the coaches would gather quality from out of the country, bring here, blend with a few players. I remember the time before Micho left, actually the last qualification game against Comoros, I think he had only 1 home-based player starting in Wadada, who was at right back against Comoros. All the rest from Onyango to Mia up front were all playing ball out. At the moment where he is, the eggs is got. Sadly, that's the omelette we've got.
But that's an interesting one. Micho, then I want to ask you, because we are talking about a transition.
Yes.
Of course, we've talked about the pandemic, we've talked about fitness of the players, but let's talk about the transition. The quality of squad you left and the quality of squad you found available, even if everyone was back, even if it wasn't a pandemic, they're not the same quality. So the big question is, how long is this transition going to be?
First of all, I want to agree.
Ahead of games against Rwanda, which are local derbies.
Yes. I want to salute and agree about the details here mentioned properly by Darren. It is an issue that you look at. We are talking also about my colleague Sebastian de Sabre, but he had Chan and problem in Chan in Morocco. He went for friendlies and he lost those friendlies, Central African Republic, whatever it was. He came back, played against Tanzania at home 0-0 and whatsoever. Those are the struggles of when person comes, things to mature. Later on, Rio Uganda Cranes under his stamp, and I salute for that, was at Africa Cup of Nations, where I have been extremely proud of the team in a way. Then with Johnny, that is, both of them are my personal friends in a way, and I'm happy that they have continued. And I have, you know, I put jersey down of the coach. I become supporter, and I look with and pride looking at this and happy that people are doing good job. I believe in this last that we have been a bit complacent in a way, especially in matches against South Sudan.
Yeah.
In a way, and we were thinking that we have already reached there, that we could by name beat other people and whatsoever. I am personally looking at a project that is 5 years ahead. I know that I will probably not be around, but I would be extremely happy that I have started something. The way Coach De Sabre had his period, an evolution until you have seen and been proud and happy, and people have sympathized. Even myself, I have sympathized and whatsoever, because my teams in Orlando Pirates, we play arguably the most beautiful football in Africa, maybe with Zamalek also, and whatsoever. Is meaning their position, their way of no pressure under the stress and whatsoever. On the other side, they do not allow you their press resistance under the pressure you put them. Their press application when you have the ball is something that I dream that we as a country, we grow the player that could be Ugandan version of Kevin De Bruyne in Bobosi Beruhanga, to go with all due respect to his present club, but to go with this age and to nurture him so that his generation that has been in finals of African Cup of Nations under 20, our next target need to be to take them to Olympic Games as under 23, 2024. The way we have been proud with our athletics, to be proud with our football, and him to be one of the pillars, and the generation that has been there. I dream that many of them are going, we need to have players in top 5 in Europe. And this is how I look. But that to happen, we need to go to a transition. There is no, you know.
And be patient with it. There's no shortcut.
Slightly patient, but in the same moment, we cannot allow the supporters that they desire and they look for the results in upcoming match that are more than matches against Rwanda in 6th and 10th, is meaning we still go for the result, but with drastical improvement, because we shall have breathing space of 1 month to improve the things, to put the players to be playing, to get the match fitness in the legs, to put the form in right shape. Then 4 or 5 days to go, we are planning 1 or 2 friendly matches before playing, where we shall try, test and experiment and see how we are looking, and then enter in matches against Rwanda with ambition to satisfy appetites of our supporters.
Okay,
maybe just to...
Because I want us at some point to drop the Mali, because we have more discussions to have with Micho as well.
Yes, just to supplement, I think when we get a little success, we get ahead of ourselves and forget who we really are and the stage we are at. You expect, you know, some kind of football from players who, like Micho has just broken it down. I mean, you have 3 Champions League players, UEFA Champions League players in the middle, and they're facing a Bobosi Biaruhanga, of course, Kalida, which is experienced. So we've got, yes, we want the results, but we've also got to manage expectations. Maybe one thing Micho didn't tell you, I know he would love to talk about it. Majority of this Mali team played in the World Cup 2015.
Yes.
Actually, they played against Serbia, and Serbia beat them. You lost to Brazil in the final?
No, we beat Brazil.
You beat Brazil in the final, yes.
No,
I apologize. I apologize. They did, but Mali was actually very hard for them, because they were so imposing. Now, that same team, majority of it, is the team that came here, and now they're facing a Bobosi, a Kalido, who is at the evening.
I regret only one thing. This pandemic make a problem, because this generation under 20 would go to the World Cup of under 20.
Absolutely.
That would open the door so much. Is meaning under 20 got cancelled, and this is our problem. Because these people, I'm telling you, the hardest team of our national team was that match against Mali. It was unbelievable. These people have been marvelous.
So Micho, you're happy because but from what you're saying you have a good pool of players to pick from. We are not short of talent in this country.
No.
Let me tell you, I do not coach Ugandan players. I love them.
Yeah.
And I dream that one day we'd break in top 10 of African football where things could become automatic in quality of the players in top 5 leagues in Europe, automatic in a way that it becomes a conveyor belt from local players to move that direction.
Yeah.
And we not only through Sekafa Club Championships, Sekafa Challenge Cups and whatsoever, that we are ruling the football in the region. When you are looking at the fact, Kenyan played English Premiership, Tanzanian played English Premier, Burundian played English Premiership, but ourselves, we still did not reach that level.
Yeah.
And that is then one of the biggest regrets as a person that last 20 years serves Ugandan football diligently.
Micho, I don't know how much pressure you're under, because clearly you have a Twitter account. I hope everyone is following Micho on Twitter, by the way. Ugandans were happy with your return for different reasons. One is because they thought or they know you know Ugandan football. Now we have picked 2 points from the opening 2 games. I don't want to drag you into African politics or East African politics, but do you understand the pressure you're going to be under before we play Rwanda? We must beat Rwanda over both legs, and that is online. That must be pressure you're feeling now at the moment, my friend.
Let me tell you, pressure is fuel that I'm using for my life. When I was in the war in 1999, that pressure was there, tiny line between surviving or being dead. Then in football pressure, this is easy. You get a point. I take the pressure away from my players, I give them responsibility, and let us see what will happen. I'm fully aware from sport aspect, from a human aspect, from neighboring rivalry aspect, from political aspect, from all the possible aspects, what the match is bringing. By the way, I have been there. I know all their players, most of their players. I was the one to give them chance. But with all due respect to Vincent Mashami that grew up in Jinja, that boy that grew up here, now is national team coach there. We have perfect relations in any way, but those 180 minutes will be much more than football.
Sorry, Darren, let me go for a break.
Sure.
Let me go for a break. When I come back from this break, Darren and Mwangusha have more questions, but you also have sent in more questions that are currently online. The hashtag is NTV Pressbox. Milton Micho Sredojevic will be answering those questions. Plus, I'll be asking him some older questions. He left Uganda, and I'm sure he's answered this a billion times, but he wasn't a happy man. He's back. What were those contract talks like? And he also is going to tell us, let me first go for a break, Micho. I'll come back. We are proudly powered by DSTV and Guinness. We're live from the Kampala Serena Hotel. You're watching the Press Box. It is the Press Box, and once again, we're live from the Kampala Serena Hotel. As always, I can't thank you guys enough for sending us all that reaction. Continue doing so. Keep your fingers very busy this evening. The hashtag is
thought we could top the group here. The qualifiers are still happening. That's going to happen. Then we have Ham Kiseka, who says, of course we have begun on soft start defensively, but we need to attack more offensively. And then we have we have Mwanga Morris, who says, I'm happy that Micho coach gets to pick his choice of players. The results will find us along the way. And then we have Mbaraka Aiwangu, who says, as a loving Ugandan Cranes fan, I would have loved to see Uganda Cranes lose one match and win one out of the 2. Why? Because we would have earned ourselves 3 points than being unbeaten with 2 points and no goals scored. Then we have Oporia Matia, who says the results are not so impressive, but I'm happy with what Micho has brought to the table. This team needs time to rebuild. Look at the number of campaign debutants, and that would be professional players, either clubless or in the country. Let's trust that. And then we have there's someone who actually got the prediction right, and they're asking you Kabura for the prediction that you asked. They won. And then they'll have this last one here. This is actually a message from a Cranes fan who is also a colleague called Jacob Seaman, and I'm going to read it the way it is. He says, there are reports that the technical team has flagrantly abused the importance of the World Cup qualifiers by fielding players for market purpose instead of seeking results. Case in point, Charles Lukwago was started in goal in what is said to have been orchestrated by a member of the technical bench seeking to market him to a potential club outside Uganda. The goal was to showcase him as Uganda's first choice, among others, so he earns that move. why would Micho put results ahead of such corruption? If Micho denies, let him explain why he dropped Lukwago. Otherwise, we conclude he was tinkering with the squad by dropping a goalkeeper who did not concede.
Let me tell you, every single supporter has his opinion, and I respect every single opinion, but I could not agree with this total nonsense. Both goalkeepers have the club. Charles Lukwago has gone to St. George. Even before these World Cup qualifiers, Isma Watenga has the club, Chipa United, so what are we talking here about? When a bit more sense is there, I'm ready to answer to that. We are extremely happy that both goalkeepers got a chance. Regretfully, two goalkeepers that had Champions League football in recent years, Jamal Salim, that is going to the second division of South Africa, I was shocked with that. Otherwise, I would be happy that he continues that line after Onyango. It was a normal way. Or Roberto Ndokara that was playing in quarterfinals of the CAF Champions League with Koroya, now is without the club and he's sorting his issues somewhere there up in Chitgumu, and we are looking to find him club. Is meaning those are all goalkeepers that are in line and whatsoever. And when someone speaks for marketing purposes and whatsoever, he need to talk sense and not total nonsense. But I'm used that Ugandans are masters in creating stories and whatsoever, and we respect that. But with language of common sense, sport logic, and facts, I'm telling both goalkeepers have a club. Yeah. Therefore, this what has been put there isn't, for me, total nonsense.
Okay, there you go. Please don't send us nonsense on the show tonight. Micho says, let's try and think through the questions according to the Serbian Wolf. Darren, you had something to ask.
Maybe if you could if you could just tell us what was the tactical decision in starting with Watenga now after starting with Lukwago in Kenya, and there was no goal conceded.
It was very simple aspect. We have seen in the match against Ethiopia that Lukwago is the one to start in that away match, and any coach is rich when he has those options, having in mind that Isma was for several years in Chitende meaning goal. We were looking, and he also deserved to get a chance, and that is aspect that he had clean sheet against Mamelodi Sundowns, and clean sheet in first match against Marumo Gallants in PSL, 2 clean sheets there, is meaning you're having 2 goalkeepers, and now both of them are in competition. How this guy will play in his club St. George there.
Was scored. By 7 p.m. actually, I think after the Cranes had played, the only other teams that had played 2 matches and had not yet scored a goal in this World Cup qualifier in Africa were Togo and Sudan. And both of them are bottom of their groups. Uganda is the only team that is yet to score a goal in this qualifier that is not at the bottom of its table. Because in our group, it is Rwanda that is bottom because it lost to Mali in the first game. And maybe here is where I get to coach and just ask you. We've got exactly, I think, 30 days to that first game against Rwanda in Kigali. In this qualifier, for the Uganda Cranes, they've won 1 match at home in 1 year against South Sudan in November last year. All the other matches that the Cranes has tried to play, actually they've not won them. They've either been draws or losses, with the last friendly against South Africa ending 3-2. But the goals have come in. And here's my question. Some of us have thought that Chitenda as a stadium, while many may think we are dissing it, but we are not, there's that thing about Chitenda as a stadium and Nambole. Trust me, if the red card had not come, I kept calling for the goal for the Cranes to be scored today by a Vipers player, because they are more comfortable in Chitende than anyone else. Today Mali was more physical, and everyone saw it when Traore faced Isaac Moleme. That was expected. Yes. If you have more physical players, the pitch gets smaller. And Chitende is relatively small compared to Nambole. Chitende is a tough place to go. The doubleheader against Rwanda has got the beat of the derby. Many people recall Jimmy Gateta and everything. This doubleheader,
June 2003.
Yes. This doubleheader, 6 points. I believe the Cranes are going all out for them. I knew you wanted to get 4 out of the first 2, but now picking 2, you only have to go for 6
to
in the next.
replace what you have lost here.
Exactly.
Because you need, in qualifiers, you need to have average per in 6 matches, you need to have average 2 points per game to reach 12, and you are there.
Yeah. So with this
Now
double,
you need to replace what you have not here.
so with this double header, pretty important. 6 points on card. How much have you got to do over this next 1 month?
Including scoring goals.
Including scoring goals.
100%. Look, I'm fully aware and I'm a concerned person, and first as a supporter in the jersey of the coach. It will be sleepless nights, hard working days, so many aspects, distance coaching on the players that are not around, additional coaching with the players that are locally, is meaning so many actions and activities that will see us reaching the point of 6 October in Kigali, being in much better football shape that could satisfy the appetites of all of us, including myself as a supporter.
Okay, Milton, I think let's go back now. We have talked about the qualifiers so far. We are definitely going to hope we have you on the press box as we get closer to the doubleheader against the Amavubi Stars. But let's go back. We're happy that you're back in Uganda. Personally, I'm happy that you're back in Uganda. So you're welcome. I don't know how much you've missed the food. I don't know how much you've missed the weather here. But when did you know you were coming back to Uganda? Because I want to start right there. How did this happen that it was Micho back in the hot seat?
Look, it's hard to explain in any way. I have in 27 matches prepared, and World Cup team were out of first time Zambia got a players in English Premiership. And when you have that in mind, we have been in a situation that I have a relation with Faz, where number one, I'm not happy with the aspects of some people influencing regarding the work I'm doing. And second, obligations that contractual obligations towards me have not been fulfilled, and I'm still in demand of certain things.
Okay.
So I pulled out in an amicable way from them, and it came that in a way, you know, football is like drug to me. I cannot live without football. That situation with Uganda came in front of. I have kept the relations, and I salute President Moses Magogo for clearing what was in first occasion, because I personally believe with the spirit we had, with everything we had, that we would go to the World Cup and do the unthinkable to put behind us Ghana and Egypt. However, it was not meant to be. I felt a sport wound inside myself, because I have gone for economical aspect where I have gone against sport aspect that I had here in Uganda. And that wound put me in a position I need to go back and to try to heal that wound. So I'm back in that aspect from that point.
Yeah, but for the average Uganda Cranes fan now, they would want to ask you, when you left, you had payment issues with the federation. You had not been paid your money by the federation. Now you're back. Are you sure you're going to be paid this time?
Look, I will not go in that direction. We can let us speak technical issues.
But we want to keep you, Micho. We don't want you to go.
FUFA and President Magogo have given me word. They have cleared. I have personally announced this on social media that FUFA has cleared everything. This is behind us. I have come with an intention to give the best service, because I owe to this country. I have spent 7 years of my life in this country, and I will not speak result-wise and whatsoever, but from the human point, I believe in Ugandan football, I believe in Ugandan players, and I believe that I have what to offer after being in 3, I want to call it arguably, football institution on the continent. Orlando Pirates, Zamalek, and Zambia national team that has been champions 2012 of Africa. So with all that experience, I believe that I have what to offer. This is why I'm here, and football is my topic. Going into that aspect, I want to believe that I will not come in position of that. But I'm not short of job offers with the national teams, with whatsoever, but I don't want to go in that direction. All what I'm thinking, game against Rwanda is played on 6, but I already in my head play the games. Even when I see your good Ugandan faces, you're inspiring me to stretch over all sport limits and to do much better than we have done.
We're going to have more reactions that are coming in online, so send us those tweets at the hashtag NTV Pressbox. Mwangusha is going to read them, but just before Mwangusha and Darren ask the next questions, you went to South Africa, so you know some of the best club football setups on the African continent. You're back home now. Your club AC Villa is still trying to sort their house. They're still trying to sort their house, I should tell you that. But since then, Express have gone on and they have won the local league here. They have won the Sekafa.
Listen, you don't need to go on and on and on. I was physically not here, but my soul and my spirit was around. So I know wherever ball is kicked in Uganda, I know much more now than before, because it's different looking from outside.
Okay.
But all these things you are talking about, I'm seeing. And I personally dream that Villa comes back, that KCC is what it is in transition with Molly, that Vasa Bossa is doing very good job in Express, that Vipers is what it is, that Ura is what it is, that we are having new team in Arua.
I was trying to pull your feet, to be honest. I was trying to pull your feet on the Villa issue. But what I was going to was local league. Our local league. Are you happy with it? Because some time back I hosted you and you said the strength of the local league is crucial to the national setup. How happy are you with the Uganda Premier League?
You need to know something. I believe that Tanzania Premier League has gone miles ahead from the point of economical impact, payments and other related issues. And we cannot compete with them from that aspect. You have same comparison in West Africa. Guinea, where this coup
the coup just happened,
happen, and whatsoever. There is Team Horoya that has is meaning all the economy. 18 players are foreign players, for example. The best United Nations of West Africa they are having with them. And you have just neighboring Mali, with State Mali and Njoliba, that are doing very well in similar fashion like our clubs. Our clubs could not flex the muscles against the, for example, Simba Yanga and Azam now. In a way, but we could flex the football, and this is where I see the space to improve. I see the space to improve first, that we unified protocols and procedures in respective technical teams, where in preparation for the matches, presentations on the day, and reviews of the matches, our technical teams are going into the deepest attention to the details. That with French coach that I brought, Mr. Frank Plain, that has worked in Paris Saint-Germain, with French national team, with Mbappe, Kipembe and others and whatsoever, that he could, with present fitness coaches, help in 5 aspects that are crucial: in injury prevention, in recovering players from the injury that has always been an problem of Ugandan football. This I know that we are neglecting so much our players from that aspect, that in a professional aspect we really take care of that. Reintegration back in the team, preparation for the competition, recovery after competition, all these technical procedures and protocols in the technical teams to be done. We have already, I salute my colleagues coaches, they are doing good job, and I believe that we could lift local game on the higher level from the technical point of view.
Well, I'll tell you what, I've talked to some players who are happy because they think Micho understands Ugandan football and understands them, so they will have a very big chance. Guys, I'll give you an opportunity to ask one more question before we can have some reaction online.
Mine is to you, coaches. When you came in the early 2010s, it should have been 2013, I think.
2013, 21st May.
Within the FIFA World Cup qualifiers, I think we were facing Liberia among others in that group.
Liberia and
Senegal?
Angola after, and Senegal came on the 7th September 2013.
How do you remember every... You make me look silly. How do you remember every single date? Go on.
So, from that time when you came, I think it actually took you about 2.5 years to build the team that qualified for the Africa Cup of Nations. Here, the FIFA president Moses Magogo has said the 2026 World Cup is the more realistic dream for the Uganda Cranes. But obviously you can't leap your eyes over the 2022 Qatar next year. In your projection, we have players from the under-20 side. We have a Jack Komakech, who was the goalkeeper, joining Vipers. We have a Steven Serwada, who is moved to Red Bull Salzburg. We have youngsters who have won the Sekafa under-15 as well. The under-17 side.
Red Bull New York.
Yes.
Salzburg.
Yeah, Red Bull New York, sorry, for Serwada. Among all these other players, you have quite a big crop of young players. And from what I see with the Uganda Premier League that you've talked about, there is room for improvement. And there is a World Cup to come. How important is CHAN 2022 for you?
So much important. It is played in Algeria. Every single match that here in Uganda will be played, we need to polish the diamond that we are having together with my colleagues, coaches, that I salute in this moment. And I need to tell you, from there we always need to find the players that are untapped. If I'm telling you, for example, Farouk Mia was hidden for 3 months just training with us before we announced him and told that whatsoever. Later on you have seen. And I would slightly disagree with you, because you are telling I needed 2.5 years to build a team. You know, when I came and we won these 2 matches against Liberia on 7th and against Angola on 14th of June, we have practically returned ourselves. And last match against Senegal, when people traveled to Marrakech for that last game, we have been in contention for the World Cup until last match. Then 2015 Africa Cup of Nations, until last match in Guinea, we have still been in contention. We needed a draw there, if you remember. And then next one, 2017, we qualified. World Cup, I regret that they have not been around
in Ghana.
In a way. I remember that it was on the wings of our confidence that we had. You have been with your friends there, I remember. On the wings of confidence that we qualified to Africa Cup of Nations, we entered in that game and then beat Congo, Brazzaville. And I believe that all this is in process, but there is an area where I am not happy with, and that is we really need to investigate what are the reasons and causes that are not keeping our players playing in professional ranks and lasting long the way professionally has lasted Onyango and a few of other players.
Guys, we are running very, very heavy, so I'm just going to ask Mangusha to read just 4 tweets, and we can wrap this one up, because we are
Yeah, so we have questions. I'll just run through these. There's Farouk Mia, there is Moses Waiswa, and there is Alan Okello. And we are a team trying to build, you know, that creative spark. And those are the players who we're building on to, you know, build a team, especially Alan Okello at least. And now Farouk Mia has kind of gone off the boil. What's your take on that? Because that's the point Uganda want to improve, you know, creating that spark. And so the form of Mia, or Kui himself, we've seen the 2 games, he's really fitness issues, struggled. And then Alan Okello, because Alan Okello is that pivot, you know, Uganda has been looking at, and he's not even here with you.
I deeply regret. I have already mentioned that arguably 3 the most talented Ugandan players in recent years coming from our ranks, and I salute everyone that has been involved in grooming them. However, things have gone a wrong direction from a point with Mia. Instead of going to Red Bull Salzburg and growing up maybe on loan in Liefering the way Patson Daka was. Patson Daka went to Liefering, come back to Red Bull Salzburg and went to
Leicester City.
Leicester City. Mia went direct to Standard Liège, where coaches are changing every 2-3 months, and this is what, because coach that brought him went away, and then Mia was on the in a way on sidelines. And then his career went not the way we expected. I will never forget the issue that same Patson Daka was clashing against our Mohamed Shaban.
Yeah, in the under-17s.
Under-17s. And when it came, and I can't forgive to my dear brothers from Onduparaka, they wanted to be the 3rd in the league, our league, and kept him instead of in that January 2015-16, when we were talking, you know, Dynamo Zagreb sent them offer. I still keep the copy of that as a proof to everyone to see the most wrong step in wrong direction for one club. Get 100,000 and get the percentage
on the resale later,
and later on get, because Dynamo Zagreb is the biggest, one of three, the biggest production factories in Europe for the players, and Mohamed Shaban will be mindset be much different. Same as with Alan Okello, we are talking about. My soul is in pain. You know, club has complained, that club Paradu, that former president of Federation Zechi is the owner of the club. Have complained why he was after South Africa not reporting back, but we have been in lockdown. It was hardship to reach there and what, so we couldn't use him now. My soul is in pain because I personally believe that he's one of the players that I could coach properly to appear in between the lines as number 10 to help us to enter in between the lines in pockets of space from where we could.
Give your final message to the Uganda Cranes fans out there ahead of that big, huge doubleheader against Rwanda. I think let me allow Mwangusha to just read 4 tweets so we can have some reaction online. And
okay, this is Seth, the East African. He says, good start for the Uganda Cranes, but hoping the next match doesn't make me sleep. Then we have Alip William, who says we shouldn't raise our expectations regarding the World Cup qualifiers because there is still a number of issues that need to be addressed from a transitioning Cranes team. The performance and the result is not what we desire, but nonetheless we have to stay optimistic. And then we have Chimbugwe Joseph, who says, I had its project 2026, but that and football of his, Nedda, we deserve better. And then we have Joseph B, who says, team too defensive, we would like to see the football, which is easy on the eye. Micho is cautious from the word go. We might not make it to the World Cup, but let the team give us hope of the things to come. And then we have the real Musoga, the real Musongora, who says it was a lucky result for the nation given the fact that the coach had poor game reading. How does Okwi play almost up to 90 minutes with his mediocre performance, and the coach is okay with leaving him on the pitch? He should have trusted the homeboys who were in better shape.
Okay, there you go. No, Micho is not responding to those because those are reactions. We really have run out of time, Coach.
I have logical answer to this, but everyone has his own view.
His own opinion. Just your final statement to the Uganda Cranes fans who have watched their first 2 games and know we have a doubleheader against Rwanda. And also, you're making your first appearance on the biggest show in town. So maybe to tell the Ugandan fans that you're back.
I want to use the opportunity and thank all the great Ugandans, football people that have accepted me 20 years ago to come to Uganda. Those that have passed away, may their soul rest in peace. I will forever keep them in my heart. I'm product of Uganda and Ugandan football. I grew up with my respective coaches, senior coaches in Uganda. I want to like to say that I do not count. I may be the only foreign coach that could be counted as a local coach in a way. And whatever I got from Uganda, I'm very appreciative. However, I owe so much, and instead of coming and promising big and whatsoever, I would like let my work talk instead of that, and let us see what time will bring in front of us. Believing in work we are doing, believing in players we are having, believing in your support, dear respected media and supporters as spiritual owners of Uganda Cranes. I look towards October with the highest level of optimism, with much better performance, with much better result, and this is what we are looking for.
Micho Milton Sredajovic, head coach of the Uganda Cranes. Asante sana wewe nyo for coming to the show today, and we do hope we can talk to you a bit more as you're still managing the Uganda Cranes. All right, guys, we are running very heavy. Let's quickly show you the Fantasy Premier League standings for the NTV Press Box League. Just to quickly show you, I'm number 79. That should be made very, very clear. Those are the guys who are doing fantastic. Of course, as the time goes on, we shall be celebrating those. We are showing more than the top 10 now to make sure we can include as many as we can. But that is what the league does look like at the moment. So are you seeing your name in the top 15, top 10?
Most of them are coaches, and they're doing it terribly in fantasy football.
It really shows you how good, how hard being a coach can be.
What does the leading coach have? The leading
No, I'm one of the better ones in there, just so we are clear.
How many points do you have?
There you go. I think we could see who has the most
They
points
have
at
to
the
scroll
top.
like to the 4th page or something?
Guys, I don't think we should show so much of my struggles tactically.
How many points do you guys have?
I have about 300 and something points.
No.
Kabura.
I'm doing great. All right, there you go. That is the Fantasy Premier League. We shall show you the top 10 next week as we get closer into more Premier League games. So let's show you what the Premier League fixtures do look like this weekend. There's more action that is coming your way. It's been an international break, and most of us have been waiting for the Premier League. There you go. Crystal Palace up against Spurs. Brentford up against Brighton. United takes on Newcastle. Cristiano Ronaldo is back at the Theatre of Dreams. You can expect huge games. Leicester up against City. Look out for those, as well as Chelsea, Aston Villa. There's Southampton, West Ham. There's Arsenal, who will be looking for their first win up against Norwich. There's Watford up against Wolves, just among the other fixtures you can expect from the Premier League. The beauty is that all games will be live on DSTV. That is SuperSport. Go out there and get yourself the latest bouquet and enjoy the entertainment just like the rest of us. Also, go get yourself a bottle of Guinness and welcome to the table of men. Please make sure you're above 18 years of age and drink responsibly. Thank you very much for joining us. To Micho, to everyone behind the technical team, and of course you, the viewer at home. Good night and stay safe.